Can I borrow it for a while?
Sure. Valentino, can we? Okay. Then please. I've no idea what the delay is. Oh, you're telling me it is 10 seconds. You're telling me it is 10 seconds. Okay, right. Okay. Hi, I'm John Dyer. I'm chairing this session, so I think we'll wait just a few more minutes. The draw of the coffee seems to be stronger than the draw of the session. But the doors are open, and maybe if they hear some sound, they'll come in. Okay, why don't we just start anyway? As I say, I'm John Dyer. I come from Tirana, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this is the third international session that we've been running at these conferences. The session this afternoon is going to be much more extensive and varied than the printed program. We now have 4 segments to this this session. We're going to start with a panel discussion with comments from the floor, please, on networking in Kosovo and Albania. That's going to be led by Valentino Cavalli from Tirana. I'll let Valentino introduce that particular segment. Then we have 3 additional presentations. Josef Torman, who's going to speak about Azaren. Bonnie Kunga from Zambia, who will talk about Zaran, and finally Catherine Stover, who will bring you a presentation about late-breaking news on Africa Connect. So with that, I'll pass the session over to Valentino, who can introduce the first segment. Thanks, Valentino.
Thank you, John, for
your introduction. Can I ask maybe to lower the lights a little bit, because I have the lamps just in front of my eyes. So I'm going to briefly introduce this panel session. First of all, let me introduce you the participants in this panel. So starting from my right-hand side is Dr. Ariane Gelai, who is the director of the Service Telecommunications Center for the Academy of, for the Albanian National Academic Network. Then Daniele Arena from, he's freelancer working from Caspur, a university consortium in Italy, who is in charge of designing the new academic network of Albania. And then on my left-hand side, Goran Skvac from KOSNet, the NRN of Croatia, who is working on the project to build a research academic network in Kosovo. So actually I have some slides. Let me see if, okay, went a bit too fast. This is an overview of the talk. We'll have first a very brief, as you see there is the GÉANT logo and the GÉANT colors, because I'm working as in a networking development support activity, which is actually a part of the GÉANT project, and has an interest in supporting emerging NRNs in Europe and the fringes of Europe. And that's, it's really a very interesting opportunity to give visibility to these new projects. But after a very, very short introduction, I will give the floor to Daniele first, who will explain briefly what are the, talk about his project to build to design the Albanian academic network infrastructure, and then to Goran to talk about the future Kosovo NRN, possibly. And then we'll have some time for discussions. We would actually hope that there are some questions from the audience. We might have some questions for the audience, and that's the scheme of this panel. So very briefly, as a way of introducing this talk, what is the networking development support? Is a part of is a task which is a key component of the terrain activity, but is also part of GÉANT, and it aims at assisting NRNs, regional and local research and education networks. The ultimate goal is to facilitate the integration of emerging countries and emerging NRNs in the European research area. We do basically two types of things in this work. One is a fact-finding exercise. We want to get better understanding on the status of research and education networking in those countries that we're working on, what are the inhibitors and possibly the opportunities. And we do help by facilitating transfer of knowledge in technical, managerial, and policy area. Our work method is based on desk study, on-site visits, talking with the local stakeholders, providing recommendations, and delivering specific support actions, which can be, again, in the area of knowledge transfer, consultancy, and so on. I've done this work for several years, and actually I wanted to mention a few things that were done as part of this work in the region. So particularly in more generally, we did some country needs assessments in the Balkans, Mediterranean region, and more recently in Eastern Europe. But then focusing on Southeast Europe, back already in 2005, there was a delegation visiting Albania and trying to help with supporting research networking there. We did a similar work in the region with Bosnia and Herzegovina 2 years later, and then with Montenegro in 2008. The situation obviously in these countries is very different. But now let me focus a little bit on Albania. Following up from this initial fact-finding, exercise, we organized a policy workshop to support the creation of research network in Albania in 2005, and there were 30 people representing various stakeholders. I think the workshop went quite well, but the development was very, very slow, as nowadays there is still no research academic network in Albania. But things are moving, and that's why you know, I'm really keen on hearing what's going on there. The role of this work at the moment is basically helping and assisting these countries with visibility. That's why you know, they're all here in the at TNC this year. Potentially, we can provide some support with the exchange of information and providing expertise. And maybe in the future we could even assist with piloting new added value services, facilitate collaboration with other European countries. This was really all I wanted to say as a way of introduction, and I would like now to pass the floor to Daniele for the next topic.
I suppose there's a microphone here, yes. Okay, so Valentino introduced me. My name is Daniele Arena. I'm from KASPOR. It's Inter-University Computing Consortium in Rome, Italy. And I'm presenting this, but I've prepared the presentation together with Dr. Arjan Jelaj, who is the director of the academic network of Albania. So actually, there is no academic network in Albania at the moment. Albania is one of the last countries in Europe without a national research and education network. As Valentino said, there have been several attempts to build it throughout the years, but they were all more or less unsuccessful, more or less due to funding problems. So what's the situation now? The situation now is that each university has its own private, separate connection to the internet. Actually, every faculty or department has a separate connection through a separate private internet service provider, which means that the universities, the faculties, the research institutes, and what have you, are not connected to each other. Most of them are connected to the internet, but all through their own connections. So what happened to overcome the funding issues? In 2007, there was an agreement which was signed between the Italian government and the Albanian government to fund this, the creation of this Albanian NREN. The funding is handled by the Italian Development Corporation on one side, and on the other side by the Albanian Ministry of Education and Sciences. This funding includes, the funding is for both the design and the deployment of the network infrastructure, plus the development, the provision of some common services for the universities. The problem is that from 2007 to 2010, nothing happened. So what happened in 2010? Finally, the first tender to use this funding was held. It had several parts: the design of the network infrastructure, the provision of some common services, the support to universities to adopt the Bologna process, and then obviously some training. It is to be noted that this first tender only includes the design of the network infrastructure and not the construction or the deployment. The design will lead to another tender for the construction of the infrastructure. So the tender, and that's why I'm here, was awarded to two Italian inter-university consortia, computing consortia. One is called Cineca, and it's in Bologna, and the other is KASPOR, which is where I'm from. It's in Rome. So Cineca will mostly deal with the services, the applications for the universities and the Bologna process, while KASPOR will lead the design of the network infrastructure itself. obviously, we will both deal with training. In Albania, separately, the National Research Network office and staff is being set up. So Dr. Arjan Jelaj has been selected as the director of the academic network of Albania, which will be an independent structure supported by the Ministry of Education. So let's go a little bit into the detail. There are 11 public universities in Albania, 5 of which are in Tirana, and 6 in other cities, which you can see on the map. There are also 3 research centers and the Ministry of Education to be connected. All this has to be, we have to design a network infrastructure to connect all these universities according to the tender. What will happen afterwards is that the academic network of Albania, just as all the national research network, will connect everything else. So there are also subsidiaries of central universities in 3 more cities. There are other research institutes, technology transfer centers, agencies which deal with higher education and research and technology development, more education institutions such as private universities, schools, etc. Just to give you an idea, Albania is roughly the size of Sicily or Sardinia or Tuscany, anyway, a small region, 5% of France. And the tender also says that the research network has to be connected to GÉANT, but at first through GAR, which is the Italian research network. So we went to Albania and we found out a few challenges. So it's possible to build a MAN in Tirana with dark fiber. Tirana is the place where there are most universities, so this is good. There's lots of fiber in Tirana, lots of ISPs which can sell fiber, dark fiber. It's also possible to lay new fiber underground. Plus, there's a project by the National Agency of Information Society called GOVNet, which started the connection of government buildings and institutions and can connect higher education institutions as well. So we might take some infrastructure from them. The problems start when you want to go outside the city, because the only, well, not exactly the only, but most of the intercity fibers available belong to the incumbent, which is Alp Telecom. And they certainly will not sell us dark fiber, and they would only sell us capacity. And when we asked them how much capacity, they said, you don't need more than 100 megs, do you? So yeah, I'm not sure how it's gonna go. There are problems in licensing, but this is going to change, but we don't know how fast. So probably other providers are starting to dig, but we're not sure how this is going to be useful in the short term. GOVNet has started connecting other cities, but only very close to Tirana. The alternative that lots of ISPs are using are radio links, meaning that you can connect through radio other cities. But the problem is that many people are already doing that, so the frequencies are crowded, plus Albania is a hilly country, so there's no line of sight on most city-to-city link. So several hubs might be needed, and this brings the costs up. Once you get to the other cities, then there are local fibers, so this is going to be easier. International fiber is also a little problem. There's only an old transatlantic cable, Transadriatic cable, sorry, from Albania to Italy with like 3 pairs of fibers, plus another cable to Greece on one side and Croatia on the other. Still no dark fiber, only capacity, very little and very expensive. There are plans to build another Transadriatic cable, but there's a company who has obtained a license, at least on the Albanian side, but the license is going to expire in a few months, and this company has Well, we haven't been able to talk to them in a while, so it's not clear what they're doing, and certainly the construction hasn't started at all. Yeah, we still have to do a survey of the universities to see what they need and to try to give them enough bandwidth, but not too much either, because we have limited funding. So hopefully before the end of this month, there will be a contract between the Albanian Ministry of Education and Cineka and Kaspur, because the formal contract hasn't been signed yet. We are already working on the project, but we're still waiting for formalities. Dr. Jelai has been recruited as the director of the Intercollegiate Service Center for Telecommunication Networks, which is going to be the Albanian academic network. But the rest of the staff still has to be hired, meaning from the secretary to the engineers. It's going to be 3 departments, as you see here. When all bureaucracy is done, from T0, Kaspur will have 6 months to deliver the design and the technical specifications that will be used to the tender. So not that long, and that's why we already started working on it. And after that, there's going to be still a few months to assign the tender for the implementation, for building the network, plus obviously a few more months of testing, of actual building and testing to go live. And here, I'm calling to you. One of the reasons why I'm here, apart from presenting the project, is to ask for your input. Because we are trying to build a national research network from scratch, which is also an opportunity. It's an opportunity to do things well from the start. So we need to build the infrastructure, including VoIP, which is not literally an infrastructure. We need to make the technical specification for the tender to build the infrastructure. We need to have the documents for the support, so network operations center, security operations center. We need to have the policies, so rules to access the network, acceptable use policies, etc. So we would like to ask you, since you have built research networks throughout the years and you run research networks day to day, to let us know and contact us if you have best current practices, design, suggestions, tips, whatever. We are here, we'll be here until, Dr. Jelai will leave tomorrow evening, I'll leave on Thursday morning. So please, if you think that you have something that could help us build a proper NREN, just contact us. And I'll leave you with a very small fun fact. There's no IPv4 addresses anymore. So we would like so much to build a native IPv6 network, but the thing is, apparently, it cannot be done yet. So if you also have suggestions for that, we welcome them. Thank you, and I'll leave the floor to Goran.
Yes. Thank you, Daniele. And then next, Goran will present his project, and then we'll have some questions.
Hello, everybody. My name is Goran Škvarč. I work at Croatian Academic and Research Network KOSNet, which is Croatian NREN. And it just so happens to be that several past or present staff members from KOSNet are involved in a project of establishing NREN in Kosovo. Just a brief introduction on Kosovo. Well, it's a recently new state in Europe. It has a population of 1.8 million and 450,000 pupils and students out of the total population. So you can see that it is a fairly young population, and they have a quite big need and necessity for quality education. They have 24,000 teaching staff, and altogether they have 1,250 schools. 2 state-owned universities and several private universities, but I will come back to that a bit later. So the present status, I see that during the course of my presentation, I will repeat most of the stuff, most of the things that Daniele already said, but the same as in Albania, there is no academic network in Kosovo. At some point in past, there have been several attempts to build, and not to build the REN, but to establish network connectivity to the universities in Kosovo. But this network is at this point not operational. There are, as I said, several institutions, number of institutions that need network connectivity and access to the internet. Besides primary and secondary schools, there are also private universities, 2 state universities, many didactic centers in each county, municipality educational directorates who are in charge for e-learning in the municipalities, after-school clubs, ministry agency, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology itself. So it's quite a challenge to design a network that will connect all of them. Most of the progress in that field has been done through the Europe Aid funded project, which is called EU IT Pilot Project in the field of education. It's a 2-year project awarded to the Croatian company called King ICT. The program director comes from the King ICT and is the former KOSNet staff member. The key expert too is also ex-KOSNet staff member. So we are, as I said, involved into the project. The goals and objectives of the project are to support Kosovo government to improve education system through support in usage of ICT, improvement of e-education and e-learning awareness, training and practice of the staff and students and teachers, development of e-content and its delivery to the end users by establishing e-content repository, to improving the e-learning competence among teachers, students and all interested parties. And among other things, it is the component 5 of the project, creation of educational network. As it was not clearly stated in the project how and which network to establish, we found out that it's a great opportunity to build a national academic and research network from scratch. In the pilot project, there are 40 educational institutions that we are aiming to connect. I'm not going to count all of them, you can see them on the slide. It's quite difficult to achieve that because Kosovo is not the flattish country you can imagine like Netherlands. It's lots of hills and mountains and the infrastructure there is quite versatile. So the idea is to have one central point of access of commodity internet to the whole network, and then the network will spread around and connect all the institutions to 2 central places. As Daniele said, in Albania, also in Kosovo, the infrastructure is a challenge. Kuitesha, which is a national incumbent operator, has dark fiber, but the problem is that they are about to be privatized. So negotiations with them are a bit difficult because they don't know in which way they are going to develop themselves and in which part they are going to be privatized. Are they going to privatize the network, the infrastructure? Are they going to privatize the underground facilities? So this is something that still needs to be decided by the Kosovo government, but in that way also reflects a problem for us because no sensible negotiations with Kuitesa are possible or meaningful because everything is uncertain. There are also other telcos and ISPs, and the project team is contacting all of them and exploring the best possibilities how to connect the 40 institutions in the first phase. The good thing is that there is optical infrastructure. There is international optical infrastructure available, so we are very much looking into it. The challenges are the present legal and international status of Kosovo. Kosovo still doesn't have a country code and a domain, internet domain. Ownership and governance of the institution KOSNet and the academic network are still not negotiated among stakeholders. the main stakeholder is definitely going to be the Ministry of Education, Science and Sport, but there is also Ministry of Telecommunications. There is a government network that has expressed interest to take part in the project in one way. The organizational structure is also difficult because it's a new government, and the government itself is not 100% clear how should it be done. And the thing is that within the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology itself, the organizational structure is not announced 100%, so they have also internal questions they have to solve before they establish another institutions. Also, the project team is deciding which services to implement in the first stage, how to find funding for that, how to provide international connectivity to the project, and how to associate the future KOSNet with other relevant international stakeholders. One of the goals is definitely to connect to the GÉANT network. For that, Kosovo legal status is also an issue. The Kosovo is not fully internationally recognized state. The European Union recognizes the status of Kosovo under United Nations Security Council Resolution 1244, and within the FP7 projects, Kosovo can be a third party, so it cannot be a member. Also, in that way, they will be seeking for a community approval, and they also have some technical issues, which is to which POP to connect. There is optical infrastructure available to Belgrade and to Skopje. So far, the same as in Albania. It is not dark fiber, so they don't provide dark fiber quotations. They just provide capacity quotations to the project. And the prices are a bit higher than in the rest of the Europe. And then again, how to get to the POP is another issue. Also, there is a strong will from the Kosovo ministry to associate itself with the Terena. Some issues are the same as for the GÉANT, which is the international position and legal status. We have explored several, together with the Terena Secretariat, several options for their membership. National membership, unfortunately, is not an option for them because they are not an ITU member state and they are not recognized by United Nations. As an international member, they are not founded by the government which has membership in the United Nations, so this option is also not available to them. So probably they will opt for associate membership and position themselves within the community as such. As Daniela also said, this is just a brief introduction, so we welcome all discussion and questions. In-depth information is available upon questions. Thank you.
So thank you, Goran. And now we have possibly some 10 minutes for some talks or questions. And I would like to first ask in the audience if there are questions for the speakers, even for Dr. Gelai eventually. Or maybe, yeah, okay, one from Mike Norris. Can we have a microphone here? He's coming just from this side.
Thank you very much. Mike Norris from GÉANT. I wonder, has any thought been given, is there any possibility in Albania, for example, in providing something other than a fixed network infrastructure? I mean, you mentioned radio spectrum, it's running out with point-to-point links, but is there any option for the NRAN to get educational spectrum, and start using that for possibly 3G services and 4G services in the future?
You mean about, you mean dedicated frequencies? or?
Yes, licensed frequencies, yes.
Maybe Dr. Jalai can answer that.
The frequencies are regulated from the agency, from telecommunication and post, and I'm not sure. I'm sure we can ask as ministry for frequencies, but I'm not sure what kind of bonds can we take in this. But I think that now the situation is something others as Daniel explained, because are the possibility to have the optical fiber, dark fiber in all Albania is only a kind of interest of investors to do this. It's not a kind of legal or the finance. And as good as I know, at the last time and last months, are some groups of investors which are started to invest in this optical fiber and dark fiber in not only in Tirana but all in other countries, because from Tirana to the last of to the end of Albania is only 300 kilometers. All Albanian is around 350 kilometers, and the distance is too short. And the time which we can do this are in the future shortly, I think.
So I just wanted to add, Kosovo is also 10,000 square kilometers, which is roughly 100 by 100 kilometers. And I was surprised to find out that the radio coverage is quite good in Kosovo, with exits to all neighbors around Kosovo, neighboring countries. So this is also an option that the project team is exploring at Kosovo as an option. And probably in the pilot phase it will not be the case, because we are going to use the land lines. But when the project is going to spread to phase 2, all possible means of connections are going to be used, probably including the radio spectrum, because as I said, we were surprised to find that the coverage is quite good.
Okay, so yeah, next, Yusuf.
Thank you. It's either a question or comment or advice. It's about involving the researchers and the educators who are the actual users of the network. My advice for you is to get them involved from the first day. Not we want just building the network and wait for creating the demand or the traffic. Let's have them from the first day, work on them. Let's say either you address them by seminars or just to make them ready to use the network once it's ready. Otherwise, when the network is ready, then you wait for the demand, the applications. So my advice, have them involved from the first day. Even they will support your call when you call, for example, extra money, extra deregulations or whatever. Then you will have some people who are pushing for the advancement of your network.
Yeah. I wanted to tell out something. The problematic of Albania is this, that we changed at the last time the system of research and innovation in Albania. Before, all the research institutes and the technology transfer center are connected with the Academy of Science. Now they are separated from the Academy of Science and including to the universities, to bring at the university the research and the technology innovation. And this is the problem, because at first all these research institutes are in Tirana. Is not, we don't have this problematic for connection. During these 20 years, we have some research centers and technology centers in other points in Albania, and now this is the challenge. But I think that we resolve this as soon as possible with, because all these are much stakeholders which are interested in this networking, and all the people see that this is the future of Albania or academic life in Albania. And I think that as soon as possible, I am optimist, and I think that from Tirana and the university in the near of Tirana, which are around 7, 8 universities, we will connect to the end of the year. because GovNet exists now, and we have only some kilometers to connect all the universities in a short time. The great challenge is the second part of the project, which is the formalize the system, the university system in all Albania in 5 pillars: for the student, for the human resources, for research, planning and controlling, and the finance of higher education. This is a problem because everybody wanted to have the independence, and to have a central system for this in real time data changing is a big challenge in Albania.
You want to comment on this as well?
Just shortly, in Kosovo the situation is somehow different, because the demand comes definitely from the users and they understand what their needs are. But the Ministry of Science, Education and Sport, Ministry of Science, Education and Technology is quite aware of that. They have a very good directorate for ICT in Kosovo, which has competent staff there, and actually the team is working along with them, and there is a strong will from their side to implement the KOSNet as a network and to establish it as fast as possible. So yes, there is a user demand, but the ministry is aware of it. The ministry has a demand of its own, and they are working on it jointly. So there are no they don't fight who is going to run it or so on. They're just working to the common goal.
Maybe if I can just make an additional comment. Yeah, I think there's one more question there. I'm aware of a number of existing FP7 projects running in Albania, including grids, etc. So this is certainly a community that you should also talk with, and I'm sure that you're already talking with them. But
yes, of course. As part of our FP7 program, we have our network, regional network, as for example, WBC EUMEDConnect2, West Balkan countries EUMEDConnect2, or SierraNet Plus, which we have programs which are working together with all Balkan countries. And of course, it's important for us to have this and to develop this connection and this network between us.
okay, thank you. I think we have time maybe for one last question. Yeah, so João?
I would just like to share with you two experiences we had when we started to build our fiber network in Portugal in 2004. One of them was we should not listen to the incumbent or the operators when they say that they will not sell fiber. All operators in Portugal were saying they will not sell fiber. And then we put a tender out, and then the railway telecom won the first one. And surprise, surprise, on the second tender, the incumbent won. So as soon as the incumbent understood that we were really wanting dark fiber, they made their price and they won the second tender. So it should not be put off by previous talks saying that they will not sell that. The same happened in the city in the north called Braga, where no one was providing fiber, and we got 5 answers, 5 different answers from 5 different providers. Another experience that worked very well for us was decoupling long distance from local loops. If you put everything on the same basket, usually you give advantage to the incumbent. But if you decoupled, and if municipalities have some kind of right to manage the underground on their municipality, then if you separate long distance, long haul from local loop, it gives you a lot of work, a lot of different contracts, but usually you can get what you want. That's fiber end-to-end in the end. That works very well in Portugal because municipalities can manage all the pipes in their area. Just to share with you these points.
So you mean having separate tenders for intercity and local loops?
Exactly. Actually, in the municipalities, sometimes we don't even have to do tenders because they have some kind of local fiber network already, or they have the pipes and they just have a small construction work to go from the railway company, for example, to the university, or from the incumbent central office to the university.
Okay, I think we have to close this. Oh, you want to? Oh, sorry. Yeah, maybe.
I just wanted to say and comment on the line with that. In Kosovo, there is a possibility, an option, to create a network on the infrastructure of the national incumbent, which is Kuitesa, the Kosovo Telecom. and then to extract it outside of the national telecom before privatization. So this is also one of the options that is being explored.
Okay, so personally, I would like to thank again the panelists and the audience for listening. I wish these guys good luck, and also, you know, they will be around in the next days. They're here. They want to hear from you. So I hope that there will be some human networking around these two projects in the next few days. Thank you very much.
Big thanks to Valentino and the panel members. We'd now like to move on to the next segment and invite Joseph Torman. Joseph is from Jordan, and he's going to talk about ASREN, which is the Arab States Research and Education Network. So, Joseph, please come to the stage.
Good afternoon. Is it okay now? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank Terina, especially David and Valentino, for inviting me and insisting that I have to come here. I was trying to make it over video conference, but they said that we need to meet all together just to take it an opportunity to explore how can we collaborate. And actually, we also need your support and your assistance. I have two hats. I am the executive director of the Jordanian Universities Network, which is the Jordanian INREN, and also I am now the CEO of the Arab States Research and Education Network. I am CEO for Technology, Networking, and Infrastructure. To start with, just to talk about the national efforts in the Arab countries, actually there is a lot of national efforts in all the Arab countries, but it varies from one to another. When it comes, for example, to Jordan, we have our own fiber. We are leasing fiber for 20 years, and we have, we also have, we are a non-profit company, which is a good model for managing such kind of network. But the case of Jordan is that we are only limited to the public universities. For other cases, for example, they are using the incumbent operators network to build their network. So it varies. At the end of the day, the exercise has been started, and many of them have worked for their national research and education network. But when it comes to the regional network, there is no connectivity between different Arab countries, even for at the neighbor level. But it is for research and education networks. For other business, yes, it is there. But for research and education network, the only infrastructure that's connecting the Arab Mediterranean part is the EUMEDConnect project. It started with EUMEDConnect and EUMEDConnect2. EUMEDConnect2 currently connects Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Palestine. The EUMEDConnect will come to an end by this September, and finally we managed to go for another phase for EUMEDConnect3, which will start late this year. Just a slide to show how we are proud of being part of the European programs, the EUMEDConnect support, chain support, and EPIC and link scheme projects, which we learned a lot from these projects also to promote the technology to be used for research in our countries. Getting back to our efforts at the Arab world level to initiate and to build the network, we started with an initiative called Pan-Arab Network that was in 2005. It was initiated by the Ministry of ICT of Jordan. We conducted the study from Jordan, and it was delivered to the Arab states, and you see that nothing happened. As INREN managers in the EUMEDConnect project, we decided together that we will take the responsibility of initiating the issue of building the network. We signed together a declaration in Rome in 2006, and we worked on that, just to trying to bring the attention of the different Arab leaders and politicians that we desperately need such kind of network to connect our researchers together. Another initiative, it was, although it was business project, it was related to build, it's called NAP. It was initiated in 2007. This project, the target of this project is to build network access points in the different Arab countries to utilize the network inter-traffic between them. Unfortunately, this project also didn't go through. Finally, we decided, from Rome Declaration as Arab mid-entrance, we designed a consortium-like initiative to work on establishing this network. Unfortunately, this also didn't work because of many obstacles. Here they are. Slide is unorganized. It was intentionally unorganized. We faced many obstacles, many concerns. Starting from the financial support, the first question we received from any politicians, we ask any politician in the Arab world, how much should I pay? This is the only question that we receive. For example, of course, technical support. The political support, again, is a very important issue that we did not get enough political support because of two things. The first point is related to that we could not reach them sometimes. In addition to that, the Indians were not very well involved, and that's because they are not empowered. I have to say that. For example, in some countries, the Indians are just a governmental department that can do nothing except watching and managing the network. One issue, let's say it was a concern and obstacle that we, at some time, we need applications, we need services and contents to be on our network, which we are, as technical people, we are unable to promote and help in that. Bureaucracy in different countries, regulations, and the involvement of Indians. At the end of the day, we came to another proposal. Therefore, I decided to remove this slide from my presentation because I used to carry it all around the world, but we started with new obstacles. I will come to it later. However, we initiated a new project, a new initiative called ASREN, Arab States Research and Education Network. It's an Arab worldwide. It's an international association, but it's by the membership is by the entrance of the Arab partners. We will invite other strategic partners, but they will be, for example, advisors or non-voting. The good thing of this initiative is that it was adopted by two figures in Arab figures. The first one is the chairman, the Secretary General of the Arab League, Amr Moussa. He is one of the leaders who was really acceptable by most of the Arab countries. In addition to that, we have the chairmanship of Talal Ghazali, who is this man. He's well known around the world, and he's well connected, and he can help us getting the political support when it comes to addressing ministers of different Arab countries or decision makers. Actually, we are using His Excellency Talal Ghazali as in his position of the United Nations Global Alliance for ICT and Development, which directly he reports directly to the Secretary General of the United Nations. Our vision is to have, at the end of the day, a pan-Arab collaborative research and education projects and activities that utilize this kind of infrastructure to enhance and to develop our communities and our economy also. While our mission is to build and implement this network to provide facilities and tools for researchers and educators and librarians in the Arab countries. Our key objectives are, we have three major objectives. The first one is to build the network itself, because at the end of the day, we are coming to build the network. The second kind of major objective is to help the different Arab countries to develop their entrance, either for those who don't have entrance, to start helping them to build and manage their sustainable network. And to contribute also to those who have entrance to develop their capacities, develop their connectivities, etc. While the most important part, which I think is to facilitate and provide means of collaboration for the researchers and help providing services and contents and bring people, researchers together to utilize this network. Because as my intervention to my colleagues, it's about, at the end of the day, we need this network to be used and utilized efficiently, and with the impact that we are seeking for. Therefore, we think that was one major arm for us is to have a promotion for technology and for using the technology and the networking for research, and to promote also collaborative approach of doing the research. Well, this is just our structure. How are we going to be? But I want to highlight on two things that we will depend on two major arms. The first one is the technical advisory committee, which will be formed of our NREN partners, and the science and research advisory committee, which is also very important, which will take care of getting people from the research and education communities to work together so that this network can be utilized. Our functions, we have the core function of GÉANT, the other hat. GÉANT is it's ASREN functions. The major function is to have the network management, network to be managed. We have to do all the commercial stuff to manage this network, and to interconnect this network to the worldwide networks, research networks. While the support functions is, as I said, we want to help in other topics like cloud computing, other services that we can do ahead. This is our high-level master plan, and based on our objectives that we want to contribute to the scientific and innovation and research in our countries. We promised for, let's say, we will be doing it to achieve this outcome. We are working about bringing 4 results. I will go for it one by one. The first result is we want to achieve is to have ASREN as a sustainable regional organization, which at that time, we are now a sustainable. We are at least regional organization. We are official. Institution, official legal entity. We'll come to it later. So we achieved part of these results that we need to achieve. The second one is to help the Arab Emirates together to build their own infrastructure. And we started with Syria. Unfortunately, now the situation in Syria is very tough. So we will work on for another country and waiting for things to be resolved in Syria. Sorry, it seems that I made a mistake. Okay. For this part, sorry. What I meant by this part, by this slide, is to have NRENs participating in ASREN. As so far, we have two partners, and we are working to have more partners. Also, for the last result that we need to achieve is to have to start on building user communities and work conduct some events to attract researchers and educators to use this network. So we are planning 2 events this year and next year. To start, our major milestones is that we have proposed ASREN in Cairo in January 2011. It was GÉANT and TAG Estrada Ghazali Group initiative. Together we have proposed that in Cairo, and it was accepted by our NREN managers, our NREN partners, EUMEDConnect NREN partners. And we have announced officially that we will start with the creation of ASREN in Brussels last year. It was in March, and we have made the official launch of ASREN in the League of Arab States in Cairo December last year. Major achievements that we have got from the launch in Cairo was, first of all, we announced official ASREN to be official entity. We have also a high-level attendance from European Commission, from Turkey, Italy, UK, and from France, and different Arab countries have attended this event, supporting us. I would like to thank all of them. We have also one important point is that most of the Arab countries who participated in this event, they have signed a statement of support that they will support us in either by creation, either they will join it immediately or will join very soon. Another major achievement is that we were seeking hardly with the European Commission to extend for EUMEDConnect3 another phase of the EUMEDConnect2 project, and it was almost accepted by that time. We have received that positive signs that they will support us for a further 3 years. We will build on that to develop our. Sorry. Okay, thank you. These people, maybe it's a long list, but at least those people have signed a letter of support for ASREN during the launch event. Thanks for all of them. You can see most of the Arab countries are there, and even from Italy and Turkey also have signed the support letter. Okay. Now, as I said, we are official company. We are non-profit company. We have registered ASREN in Germany. Why Germany? That's because we want to avoid sensitivity between different Arab countries, because sometimes it's there. We cannot abide that. In addition to that, we feel that's more flexible for us to, especially when it comes to donations and financial support from different institutions worldwide. It will be easier for us to be there. Therefore, we have signed officially and registered ASREN in Düsseldorf last March with the 3 members, actually 3 shareholders now. Jordanian University Network, GÉANT, Moroccan Research and Education Network, Marwan, and Talal Abu Ghazali Group, consulting group. And that meeting, we have elected Amr Moussa as the Secretary General of the League of Arab States as honorary chairman. As I said, we need his support, because with him, we can access and address all the Arab politicians. Unfortunately, now we have a new Secretary General for the Arab League, because Amr Moussa is trying to get for the elections of the Egyptian presidency. However, I think at the end of the day, what we have is the position itself. We will not be part of the Arab League institutions. Only we are just taking the Secretary General, so that we are under the umbrella of the League of Arab States without being part of its departments. We have also elected Talal Abu Ghazali to be our chairman for the first 2 years. So now as way ahead, we are building on our, by the support of TAG and Dante and our INREN partners who work together, our first draft of the strategic plan under the EUMEDConnect2 project to achieve our goals. So this is we will build and utilize what we have achieved, and we will build on that to further go ahead. We will have official office in Jordan. It will be opened by early June, so it's 2 weeks ahead. Away. And we will have our General Assembly meeting in Cairo on July 4th this year. We will have, I would like to invite you all, we will have our first annual meeting as ASREN in Jordan. It will be in Amman in December. So far we did not decide which date, because we are looking for having the royal patronage of our king to attend this event. We are intending to invite all all partners from the EUMEDConnect2 project. We would like also to have it, let's say, global way of having such event. We want to get all stakeholders involved, starting from our Arab researchers. The EUMED Event 4, which was intended, this is the fourth one, which is intended to bring stakeholders and decision makers together from Europe and the Mediterranean. In addition to that, we will invite the Internet2 SIG meeting to be also part of this event. So we'll have high level of attendance from all over the world, including the Gulf, because the Gulf is more to Internet2 rather than to GÉANT. By this event, I think we will bring all together, and it will be a success, and we will learn from all together in one place. I will circulate the dates once they are finalized. So far, we have a lot of publications and a lot of information available. We have the temporary website which we created during the launch in Cairo, but it has a lot of information, including the proceedings of the meeting of Cairo. And now we have the official website, www.azrin.org.net. Though not all the information is ready, but the website is ready and waiting for your comments. Here's the layout of our website. It's a bit, we're trying to make it attractive. We have management teams. We have my colleague Salim Al-Aqtash. He's the CEO for Administration, Education and Research, and myself as CEO for Technology, Networking and Infrastructure. And we have our colleague Sarah. So here are our emails. We are looking forward to hear from all of you. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot my microphone. Any questions for Joseph? Thank you very much for an interesting presentation. Any questions for Joseph? Valentino.
Joseph, a simple question maybe with a difficult answer. You listed a number of countries which are part of EUMEDConnect2, and they also signed support to ASREN, but the membership is now, I understand, composed only of Jordan, Morocco, and the Talal Abu Ghazal. Can you explain a little bit on this?
I have to say, what happened to me, two things. One of them was bad, and the other thing was good. The bad thing is that I forgot the charger of my laptop in Istanbul. Therefore, I have update for this presentation, actually. The good thing that is I didn't find anyone in the shops that works for my laptop. I was very happy yesterday because I didn't use my laptop. However, I wanted to add one slide. Actually, one major thing is that when I promised not to take this slide with me, I should have another slide after that because. Sorry, here. Because of the political situation and crisis in different countries, actually, we are very happy that we are we have official and legal entity that will take care of the issue. But now we have a more difficult slide than this, which is, Egypt. So far, the people there are very supportive and they are willing to join, but they are not in a way in a position to decide. The same for Tunisia. Even Libya, they have invited us to have the first meeting in Libya, but unfortunately, the political situation, if you can't count Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, and Syria lately. So it's tough for us, another tough, I don't know what kind of slide should I put after this slide. Okay. That's because the only countries who could, now we will have Sudan, and I think Sudan will be signing very soon. But for the mid-endurance, Algeria, I think they have some obstacles because they prefer the Cameron model rather than the Azrim model. So far they didn't decide. But at the endurance level, they are very supportive. But when it comes that we need official representation from the different countries.
Okay, we'll have to end it there, I'm afraid, because we've got two more 10-minute slots before the end of the session. So thanks very much again, Josef. Please don't fall down the steps. Please don't fall down the steps.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'd like to welcome the next speaker. We're going to swish from Middle East down to Africa now, and I'd like to invite Bonnie Kunga. I probably shouldn't say it that way, but Bonnie is from Copperbelt University in Zambia. He's going to talk about Zamren, which is the Zambian NREN. So, Bonnie, you can either use this one or you can use this one if you like. I think this session demonstrates the benefits of global collaboration between the NRENs and in fact, the organizations of NRENs. So, welcome, Bonnie. Thank you very much for giving us this presentation at such short notice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bonnie Kunga. I'm the CEO for Zambia Research and Education Network. At the same time, I'm the director of ICT at the Kosovo University. I'm trying to relinquish one of the jobs. I don't know which one it is. For those that do not know Zambia, I think the best to describe it is it's in the southern central of Africa, just below the Congo and above South Africa. So somewhere. Oh, forgive my mustache. It was, it was. So it's in an area where you basically somewhere in between, just in the middle, surrounded by 8 countries, and totally landlocked, with few amounts of water and very rough terrain. It's a huge country, about 750,000 square kilometers, and sparsely populated, about 12 million people. So that is basically how Zambia looks like. And this afternoon I want to share with you issues regarding Zambia Research and Education Network, one of the emerging networks south of the Sahara. And if all goes according to plan, we should be able to offer services towards the end of next quarter, 2012 quarter, first quarter. I'll quickly, if it, well, I'll just quickly look at the objectives of Zamren, which I believe shouldn't be any different from most of the national research and education institutes. We'll look at the institution's assessment within Zambia and the institution's requirements. Then I'll briefly talk about the regional and international initiatives that will impact the operations of Zamren. And I'll also briefly talk about the niche project, which is a support project for Zamren. And what is our ambitions? Where do we want to be? And a closing remark. I just didn't want to leave this podium without saying something of my own. Well, ideally, like any other NREN, we want to secure broadband connectivity for the dedicated global research and education network for our member institution within Zambia. And also to provide inter-institutional connectivity within the country, and also to Ubuntu Alliance Net, which is our regional network, and then through there connect to the rest of connect to the rest of the institution within the Central and Southern African region, and also provide ICT services to member institutions for academic and educational research. Now, before we could start thinking about providing services for our member institutions, we did carry out some research of some sort. Okay. We did carry out some assessments of our member institutions, just to make sure that what we're planning to do and what we hope to do is in sync with what the expectations are. But what we found is that basically one of the key factors is the poor access to the internet due to restrictive bandwidth. Restrictive not in the sense that it doesn't exist. There is optic fiber backbone within the country. But the cost of bandwidth in this region, in Zambia in particular, is just unbelievably high. We're talking in the range of 4,000 to 5,000 US dollars per megabit per second. I mean, that figure looks like out of the blue, but that is what we're paying for now. So institutions, being poor as they are, being government-funded institutions, most of them, they cannot afford. So you end up having huge institutions, huge universities running on 2 megabits per second. In any education and research institution, especially around now, access to internet and access to shared databases is paramount for research. And if that is not provided, the perception of ICT within the institution is very, very low, because basically it doesn't deliver on the core business. Due to also lack of connectivity between the institutions, we found that most of the ICT infrastructure which was available was basically localized, meaning each institution had its own, and due to poor connectivity, it doesn't share and connect to others. Notwithstanding, most of the institutions didn't have adequate manpower to run even the local campus network within the campus. So these are basically when we did an assessment, out of the 17 institutions that we got, 50%, or in fact more than 60%, fell in this category. Then what did we think we should put in place in terms of requirements? We are saying that for us to move forward, we needed institutions to have policy plans supported by all stakeholders. In some cases, ICT's provision services were just run by some well-wishers in terms of somebody within one faculty and running a server here and there, and that was it. And mostly there was no ICT policy and there was no plans to expand within the institutions. Also, we needed to look at ICT infrastructure, adequate ICT infrastructure that can enable delivery of education and research services. The issue of faster access to the internet was always somehow running around and coming back. We also decided that we're going to put in place adequate human capacity, or capacity building within institutions to be able to manage and deliver ICT services to support education and research. Having done that, we said, let's look at the topology. How is it going to look like? In a simple terms, we've got 3 major institutions within the country, 3 public institutions, and then we're going to have 1 network operating center at the University of Zambia, which is basically right dead in the middle. Then we're going to have 1 point of presence up north. which is about 400 kilometers from Lusaka, and another one in the middle. The other red lines pointing downwards are connecting to areas that are not on the line of rail. The challenge that we've got is that most of the development in the country runs along the line of rail. But however, got a lot of population outside which you might consider to be rural areas, which you need to somehow get there. So we're looking at the future plans is to get to those rural areas, which are those connections down there. But for the meantime, we're going to look at the areas that are running along the line of rail and those institutions that are nearby. So this topology is more or less futuristic, but at the same time, we're looking at what we can achieve within the short and middle term. We've got challenges in terms of implementation. One, which is organizational. We need to have to develop and sustain a business model for Zamren. For it, although it's non-profit making, it's not for loss either. So we need to look at how we're going to manage and develop a business model which will be able to sustain operations of Zamren. Our institutions also, we need to bring them to a level where they'll be ready to be able to use ICT services as well as manage some of the infrastructure which will be deployed there. There will also be need to connect some of the institutions to the national grid, which is basically an optic fiber grid run on the power grid of the ZESCO, which is basically a power utility company which runs fiber on its pylons. We also need the technical support regarding setting up of a network operating center, equipment selection, support staff, and contracts, basically outsourcing whatever we need to outsource. The cost of connectivity. There is a challenge regarding the local transit costs. Apparently, we just have one telco, and that telco has also been given charge to manage the optic fiber grid for the power utility company. So by and large, we only have one group of people to negotiate with. Hopefully, we'll be able to get somewhere in terms of negotiating, but it's brought about a different perspective in terms of we've only got one person and one telco to negotiate with. Cross-border traffic, like I mentioned, Zambia is totally landlocked. We need to transit through either Namibia, from Namibia to South Africa, or sometime soon we may be transiting through Tanzania and through Malawi. So we got some options. But as of now, there's only one link which goes through Namibia and to South Africa. And when I asked for some tariffs, the tariffs are quite heavy. They also need to build capacity to enable delivery and support of the services at member institutions. So those are things that we'll probably be looking at. Most of the institutions, although they are there, they may have some internet access. It's through some radio link, which is very, very erratic. And what we're doing is, as Zamren, we want to go ahead and try to get everybody on fiber and provide last mile connectivity where we can. We have actually had some support from government in terms of getting some institutions connected via fiber onto the national grid, which is that operated by the power utility company. But the number of institutions that remain not on the national grid, about if we'll be looking at about only 3 out of the 17 are on the national grid using fiber. The rest are via radio. It's not that radio technology is poor, yeah? But in Zambia, when it rains, it does not only rain with cats and dogs, but it comes with it massive lightning, which knocks out most of the radio units that you put in place. We also need to look at ICT resources in the member institutions for us to be able to deliver the services at those institutions, and also to be able to ensure that those resources are able to effectively utilize. So these are the implementation changes that we foresee will be with us or be haunting us between now and the first quarter of next year. But to support our initiative, there are regional and global initiatives that are helping NRENs emerging from, especially in the southern part of Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. We have Untitled Alliance, basically, which is an association of NRENs within East and Southern Africa. And with that, with the Ubuntunet, we're trying to get hold of all other member NRENs and to be able to interconnect within the region. Now, Ubuntunet, for those that are not familiar with it, is registered in Sweden, in the Netherlands, and it now has a 10 gigabit IP connection to GÉANT. So through Ubuntunet, we hope Zamren will benefit its connectivity within the region to be able to get to GÉANT. There's also another project which has just been signed on, which is Africa Connect, coordinated by Dante. And Zamren is an active participant on that, or hopes to be. And we're trying to, by all means, we'll get the best of the advantage of being part of the Africa Connect project. So with those two initiatives, we still hope and feel that there is a lot of hope to get Zamren off the ground and going. To help us expedite the operationalization of Zamren, a project under the Netherlands Initiative for Capacity Building in Higher Education in Africa, INISH, a formal project was signed in January this year to help support Zamren. And it will kick off in June. It's a 3-year project. So the main aim of this particular project is to help with the operationalization issues of Zamren. That is to develop an organization and business plan, policies and strategies, assist in the procurement and installation and deployment of ICT equipment. Well, basically helping us selecting and prioritizing some services that we will have to start dealing with. I know there are numerous types of services that an NREN can offer, but I think we need to go step by step and see which ones we can do, taking into account what we've got in the ground and what institutions we're supporting. We'll also be looking at deployment of ICT services in higher education institutions by developing ICT policies, strategies, and capacity building. Now, this particular project will be supported by 3 universities in the Netherlands, that is Groningen, Nijmegen, and Free. And it also have support in terms of consultancy from Untitled Alliance and SAFNet. So hopefully with the team that is around, we should be able to get some of the hurdles that are commonly faced in the initial setup of an NREN, and we should be able to get moving quickly. What are ambitious levels? Basically, what we want to do is provide low-cost gigabit connectivity to research and education institutions in Zambia. I think if you come to Zambia, most of the institutions will tell you that they can't just access the internet. Not because they don't want to, but the cost at which the internet is available is just astronomical. So one of our major issues, in fact, one of our major focal point is to provide low-cost gigabit connectivity. We hope we'll do that because with the initial negotiations that we've had with the power grid company, they say they could not give us dark fiber, but they can give us a lambda wavelength, which means we could ride and have a 1 gigabit network on it. But however, the negotiations haven't been yet completed because the deployment and use of fiber for the electrical company has been sublet to this telco. So we're still negotiating. But I can see hope coming in. But if the worst comes to the worst, we shall have to get in political muscle to get this thing done. Also looking at providing some innovative use of ICT services, taking into account the challenges in the region, demographic and otherwise. Although we may seem to be young in terms of startup, but we do believe we'll be major players in regional initiatives for the UbuntuNet Alliance, and also want to be players in terms of research and education within the world. Like I said, I can't just leave without saying a few remarks of my own. I said the theme of 2011 Terena conference is that you're talking about enabling communities. And clearly, this is not only for the European communities, it also touches on Africa. But there are challenges in Africa, some of them as basic, which you can't believe, because you've gone through that and you don't think connecting one institution to another is a challenge. Those challenges still exist. I do believe that universities and research institutions within Africa have a lot to share with their counterparts in Europe, Asia, America, and elsewhere. And I think it's high time they were ably connected. Having said that, it's the networking world like you people sitting here who listen patiently to my speech to make sure that you put this on the agenda in terms of support, in terms of what initiatives you can, of collaborative initiative we can put in place to make this happen. I thank you.
Thanks very much, Bonnie. I'm going to skip the questions, but we're already running a bit late. Now, hot foot from Botswana, I think, with hot news, is Catherine Stover. Catherine Stover is from, what's that organisation? Dante, isn't it? From Dante, and she's been involved very much in the Africa Connect project. So, Catherine, please tell us about Africa Connect.
Okay, I've got it, yeah. Well, thank you very much. Yes, as John has said, we have got very good news that we brought back from Botswana last week. Those of you that have been struggling with us through the 2 years almost of negotiation of the Africa Connect projects all know what it meant last week in Botswana when we finally signed the Africa Connect contract with the European Commission and the African Union Commission. You see very happy faces here on this picture. Next to me there's Dr. Francis Tuzubira from the UbuntuNet Alliance. On the other side is Mr. Ahmed Hamdi from the African Union Commission. And of course Kostas Glinos from DG INFSO. He's head of unit at DG INFSO. So yes, the project is there. It's no longer a dream. We no longer talk about a plan. We are in the project. Africa Connect has started on the 11th of May, and we're all very, very pleased with that. We published a press release, and I think that's the reason why John asked me to come on stage here at last moment. And I think one of the main issues that we are talking here about when we look at Africa Connect, Bonnie here has been mentioning, you know, the restraints on economies. In Africa Connect, we haven't seen that. We have seen that the African partners, mainly the UbuntuNet Alliance and their connected institutions, they have been able to bring the 20% co-funding that they need to put onto the table for Phase A, for the first year of Africa Connect. They were actually able to put that onto the table last December already. So we do have a community here that is fully committed. It's not just a European project that brings a lot of money to Africa. The African partners have responded to us in a way saying, we take this serious, and so that you get a very clear notion that we take this serious, here's our 20%. We've got an Africa Connect website, which is up and running, so if you're interested, please go to www.africaconnect.eu. It's got all the latest news, including the press release. For those of you who are partners, please also be aware that the intranet is live and ready for your comments, so please have a look at the intranet. But now I think just very quickly to give you a very short overview of what Africa Connect is about and who's involved in it. As I said before, the geographic scope of Africa Connect is the UbuntuNet Alliance, and there's 13 NRENs in Southern and Eastern Africa. We also work with WACRAN, which is a newly founded organization in West Africa, and we work with the Association of African Universities based in Ghana, but basically working on behalf of all of African universities. In Europe, the project is supported by the research and education networks in Germany, Italy, Portugal, Ireland, the UK and the Netherlands, and Dante, of course, is the coordinating partner. But I want to also say we are working with the European Commission. We receive the funding from DG AIDCO, which is normally where this regional development aid money comes from. We have a lot of support from DG INFSO in all the technical aspects and pushing the direction of Africa Connect within the Commission. And we have the full support of the African Union Commission, which I think is going to really be the political driver behind this project. And we have very, very many organizations, US funding foundations that are working with us, such as Carnegie. And we have the IDRC in Canada working with us. We have the Network Startup Research Center in Oregon work with us. There's support from Indiana University. So this project has really gathered a global community together, and I think this is wonderful because this is exactly what Ubuntu means. Ubuntu stands for, I'm here for the community, and the community is here for me. And it seems that Africa Connect is really gathering the best of the community spirit that we have in research and education environment. So these are the UbuntuNet Alliance member countries as they are today. You will see that South Africa is singled out here a little bit. As this is development aid money, we cannot have South Africa participate as a beneficiary country. They can participate, they can't benefit. We're currently working with the South African institutions to ensure that they can have full participation in the project as well through a bit of extra funding. And of course, Bonnie, you see, Zambia is fully there, so we're very happy to be working with you. So the project in itself is a 14.75 million euro project. It's funded over 4 years. The funding split is 80-20, that is the normal split in these development aid projects. 80% of the funding comes from the European Commission through their development aid grants. 20% is to be found by the partners in the region, in this instance, the UbuntuNet Alliance and their partners. The project is very much based on Dante's experience that we have gathered in other world regions, such as the ALICE project, EUMEDConnect that Yusuf has been talking about, project in Central Asia called Karen, and the TANE projects in Asia Pacific and South Asia. But it's been adapted into the African context. We've worked very, very closely with the UbuntuNet Alliance to make sure that Africa Connect actually meets demands of the African continent, and it's not some brainy idea of an organization based in Cambridge. The geographic focus, as I said earlier, is entirely the UbuntuNet Alliance, but we will be working with the West African partners to ensure that through the participation in the meetings and the training, they will get a certain amount of momentum that will then enable them to participate in the project at a later stage. And the manpower in the project will be mainly provided through the UbuntuNet Alliance. That means that Dante will just really have a very small hand-holding role together with the European NRENs, because we see the UbuntuNet Alliance as a stable, consolidated organization that the day-to-day management will be carried out by. Objectives, I think most of you will know. I've already said that. We want to create the research and education infrastructure, and we want to ensure the financial sustainability for the future. So when these 4 years have gone by, we would actually like to hand over the responsibility to the UbuntuNet Alliance in a similar way as we've done that in the Alice project, handing over the responsibility to the Clara organization. What's next? I think that's the most important step here now. What are we planning now? We have put together a procurement team of engineers, African engineers, supported by HEANet. This is the procurement team. And we're working now on getting the connectivity and equipment procurement documentation together. This will then be issued following the rules of the European Commission. So if there's a provider in the room, please watch this space. We would very much like to be working with any provider willing to work with us in this project. We have started dissemination activities, as you're all aware, and this is the phase A is over the first 12 months, and ongoing then is the operational phase of phase B, where the project is really consolidating, is looking from the procurement into the connectivity services and reaching the user communities, and then building up the political dialogue within Africa, but also with the European institutions to ensure that we will have continuity in the future. So, this is how it looks, connectivity to Africa looks today. You see all the traffic currently is exchanged in London, and this is actually what Africa Connect is about. We want to break away from a point where an entire continent needs to exchange its traffic in a different continent. This is like, 20 years ago when the Americans said, why don't you just exchange your core traffic in New York? So we need to build a regional network between those darker brown countries in the African continent to ensure that traffic is aggregated in Africa, African traffic remains in Africa, and then only really just use the London exchange for onward traffic to Europe and maybe to the United States and other world regions, of course. So, that's all I wanted to say. I hope I haven't taken too much of your time away. Thanks again, John, for giving me this opportunity.
It's not you that's taken the time away, but I'm in big trouble for overrunning by 15 minutes, so I'm sorry we can't have any questions. If people would like to get together in a corner outside and talk about any of these things, I'd be very pleased to organise that. Thanks very much for coming. I've enjoyed it. I think it shows how much global collaboration can achieve. So thanks, everybody. See you again soon. Next year, maybe.